evening, everyone, and welcome once again to Vicious Rants. And of course, I am your host, your YouTube messiah and often imitated, never duplicated superstar, Tim Vicious, and we are talking about quite possibly the most important go-home show of the year. Of course, I'm talking about the go-home show to WrestleMania. Now, before I get into detail on that show, folks, as some of you may or may not know, been having some issues with one Oliver Ben and his cohort, the Masked Mark, as of late, and guys, I know I may have overstepped my bounds and said or done a few things may not necessarily be proud of, but seeing as on how WrestleMania is upon us, I would like to request a temporary ceasefire until after WrestleMania. Just so that way, all of us can enjoy the show without having tempered heads ruin the event. After WrestleMania, all bets are off and we may continue to either go on with as we are or let sleeping dogs lie. I leave that in your hands. On with this week's show, though, we are talking about the go-home show for WrestleMania. It was in LA, and it starts off with Sting. Yes, Sting, the icon. He comes out. Loved seeing him come out. Really so much so miss the old Crow music he had when he was in WCW. That da 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 one. But he comes out talking about on how he's going to beat Triple H. He's been waiting 14 years, and he was saying it's not about WCW, but man, in a way, to me it does feel kind of like it. But that might be because to me I'm kind of looking at it as finally, after years of waiting, we are finally seeing the Blade Runner versus Terror Rising. Then again, I could just be overthinking it, But, yeah, Sting's coming out, doing his spit, and then next thing you know, out comes Steph and just like, hello, Steph, MILF in charge, hell. But she comes out, starts making all these references to Sting saying he was a dog, in which case the biggest issue I had with that was Sting just, not so much calling him a dog because given the history he has with the business, but because of the fact you had Snoop Dogg in the back and just eventually thinking he's going to come out and be like, yo, what's up with all this dog name calling and shit, man? But didn't. Sting retaliated against Steph by pretty much doing the same thing everyone else did, saying she's a stuck-up bitch and got everything handed to her, and then Steph went to go do the slap, of 1,000 pimps on her. Next thing you know, Sting was like, not today. And then out comes Hunter, and you just see Steph outside the ring holding her hand like, ooh, you just done hurt my dick hand. And then Hunter just looking over like, did he put his hands on you? Next thing you know, takes the blazer off, gets ready to go in there. Steph gives him the hammer, and then Sting, oh, bat, come on, you got the hammer, I got the bat, let's do this. And, so my big thing with Sting, though, is a lot of people are saying that, age aside, his figure is a big issue. But my argument to that is, if people are so worried about his figure, and let's just say for the hell of it, WWE, maybe, they could just take a page out of Jushin Thunder Liger's book, and give him a suit to wear. I mean, I'm not saying that it would be the smartest thing to do, but like I've said before a million times, the big thing about with this show, offer an idea, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent. That's on what you do. You know, you want to complain about the product, by all means complain about the product. But offer an idea, an alternative, or something to where you think that might help, whether good, bad, or indifferent. Always open to hearing. You know, but that aside, you know, Hunter just stepped back and was like, okay, just walked away. And that was good heel psychology in my book, because it just was like, no, you know what? I don't want to kick your ass just yet. I'm going to save it. I'll get you. Just wait. And then they went, and now moving on to the next match though, had Ambrose and R-Truth versus Stardust and Luke Harper, and Bad News Barrett was on commentary. And I'm not going to lie, folks, I wasn't really so much drawn into this match as I was more so into the fact my son was more so asking about who Bad News Barrett was, and asking me to explain his character to him. But yeah, that being said, the match itself, it was what you would expect for a Monday Night Raw tag match. I mean, the biggest issue with this match was the one they normally typically do is they have the guys that are set to go against each other on the pay-per-view all tagging against each other, and it's just like, what the flying fuck? Really? What? Ugh. You know, it don't feel right when you do that, you know? They shouldn't come that close into contact with each other on TV shows. You know, house shows, okay, that's one thing. You know, I mean, social media, you can only put so much out there. But you get it on TV, no. But either way, Ambrose and Truth wound up getting the win, so, yeah. Next matchup, we had a 10-man tag match, in which case, you know, Teddy Long was just sitting at home in a nice lounge chair with a smoker's jacket, poured a bottle of Cavaquier, sat there, swirled it around, was like, Monday Night Raw's got 2 tag team matches back-to-back, players. Now that's how you do a show. Holla, holla, holla. Yeah. Then again, that's at least on how I like to think he is, but I also tend to have a few issues. Moving on though, it was Miz Dow, The Ascension, and Adam Rose versus the Primetime Players, Ryroyd, Zack Ryder, and Eric Rowan. And my biggest initial reaction to watching this match was, oh my god, Zack Ryder's on Raw? Well, that explains the freak weather we've been having. You know, but aside from that, really I'm getting sick and tired of seeing Rowan get treated with shit. Rowan is getting the Marty Jannetty treatment of the Wyatt family, and you know, I wanted to see him grow. And now he's getting fed shit. And aside from that, the biggest issue with this match was the fact that JBL was arguing with the ESPN guy that was there, and honestly, I don't even like ESPN one bit. I'm not gonna get into detail on why I don't. I'm trying to save as much time on here to focus on the show, not to focus on what I don't like. You know. But the match itself, it was what it was. It was a 10-man tag, just a piss in the wind to help build up the Andre the Giant Battle Royal. Now, also, I know I just said I don't want to make this about me, but I'm saying this as a general, I'm going to make a little pool for all you kids out there watching this. You know, my prediction on, as far as what Ryder goes with the Rumble, with the Battle Royal, he's going to be anywhere between the 1st and the 5th guy eliminated that night. You know, if any of y'all think different with any other person, like on who you think is going to win or lose or whatever, You know, again, feel free to type on down below in the comments while you're down there. Also, feel free to click on the Spring for Sid's link to help with the group Shannon's Butterflies. You know? But big thing that the biggest story that's leading into this battle royal is obviously Miz and Mizdow. Now, them two, they're going to eventually lead into a feud, which is looking more likely at Extreme Rules. They're going to have a match, if not a little bit sooner. Now, on how I see them two going, Miz gets eliminated, mad at the fact Mizdow doesn't eliminate himself, and then Miz eliminates Mizdow, and then them two eventually lead to some brawling here and there, and then climax into a match at pay-per-view. Now, but yeah, back to the match at hand. They, you know, the team with, yeah, it's a worst part of this match was the fact that old Ryroyd was in it, and of course he won. Old Skippy wound up wound up doing the shell shock on the Miz and got the 1, 2, 3. Everyone knows I don't like Ryback, and I've given my reasons a million times over. I really don't want to tonight, folks. I'm not doing it tonight. No. No. My producer behind the camera, he's insisting I do it. No. No, we're moving on to the next segment. Sorry. You know, it said next up next match, it was Randy Orton versus mystery opponent, and they gave everyone the right to vote, saying on it whether it was Big Show, Kane, or Seth and J&J Security. And without further ado, drum roll please on who his opponent was. Drum roll. Ed, drum roll. No drum. What do you mean we can't get a drum roll? No! I'm sorry, my producer insists that we can't have a drum roll on this show because that would have us go over budget. Because apparently we can't go into the Swiss accounts that are tied into this show to give you such a high quality show. But neither here nor there. Ed, I got half a mind to put your name out. I got half a mind to put all of your personal stuff out here for you, so that way everyone can get mad at you. You can get replaced, I can't. But, yeah, moving on with the show. Since we can't do a drum roll, I'll just say it. Randy's opponent was Seth with J&J Security, and the whole time, at first, I was just... Before the bell rang, all I was thinking was, please don't put in Jimmy Murray. Please don't put in Jimmy Noble. Please don't put in Jimmy Noble. Please don't put in Jimmy Noble. Oh my God, they put in Jimmy Noble, and cue the laughter because I'm still cracking up from last week thinking, Jimmy Noble, the Authority's secret weapon. The Authority's secret weapon. Oh my God. Oh my God. That's like sticking a 6-year-old after like somebody that's like 8 foot tall. Seeing Jamie Noble like that, it cracks me up to no end. Almost as much as when they had the WLC matches, which, by the way, if anyone knows on how to make a petition, please let me know, because I will make a petition and put it on my Twitter at TimVicious, just to say that they should have WLC Round 2 at WrestleMania 32. Get my composure. Moving on now. Now to the match at hand. Randy pretty much just beat the living shit out of Noble and Mercury, and Seth was just like, oh, back up, I ain't touching this shit. No, y'all ain't getting me. and left it at that. Let them two go. Left them two high and dry like Patterson and Briscoe as the Stooges, like Vince would do, which they are playing really good, and I absolutely love it. You know, Randy had them both under each arm. Wham! Gave them both a DDT. Hit the RKOs, got the 1, 2, 3. Randy won, so it's looking like Seth's gonna wind up winning at Mania. You know, and also hoping that winds up leading to a little more into that, and I'll get into that when I get to the closing segment of the show. You know, so next matchup, it was an ST Divas match. So it was the champion, the Bella that got the boob job, whatever her name is, Nikki, that's it, Nikki. Yeah, Nikki. Right. She wound up looking over, she basically just said to Paige and AJ, I'll put this title on the line tonight, but against one of you, but you two have to figure out who it is. And then, of course, they wound up having Paige and AJ doing the, no, you should do it, no, you should do it, no, you should do it. And then, eventually, after much heated debate and arguing, Godzilla came, ripped the roof off of the building, came down, picked up Nikki, squeezed every last ounce of life out of her, and then proceeded to start chewing her up like she was a wad of bubblegum and then spit her out just as much. Or am I confusing fantasy with reality again? I think I am. A guy can dream. But yeah, they wound up having Paige, and surprisingly, this was actually a decent match. And if you've watched this show or seen me on, or read my Twitter at Tim Vicious enough, you would know firsthand I am not necessarily the nicest when it comes to the women's division on the main roster. If anything, I care more about the NXT roster than I do the main roster. Because honestly, the main roster is shit as far as with the ST Divas go. Hence why they are the ST Divas. You know, and the women's and the NXT roster is the NXT women's roster. But yeah, this was actually a surprisingly good match, and for me to say that, that means I'm tipping my hat and complimenting them pretty big. So yeah, that's saying something, and yeah, but all that set aside, I'm pretty sure this match was Vince McMahon looking at us all saying, "Fuck you! You want me to give Divas a chance?" And then proceeded to screw us over because while on one hand we got an incredibly good match, got a very shitty ending. Because how the ending came to be, Paige got tossed out of the ring, and the Bella, the real skinny, scrangly looking one, she's named after a cheese. Goat? Swiss? Cheddar? Fromunda, that's it. Fromunda cheese Bella. Go ahead, take a minute to just think about that joke for a minute. And she came over, next thing you know, AJ came over to make sure she didn't do anything, and then, which led to them two starting to squawk at each other, and then AJ going at her. Paige got up, put her hand on AJ's shoulder, and AJ, wham! Elbowed Paige, and then Paige went in the ring, Nikki picked her up, rack attack at the 1, 2, 3, and then walked off, and then led to Paige and AJ fighting, so yeah. Pretty sure this was Vince McMahon saying, well, you want me to give Divas a chance? Fine, I'll give them a chance. I'll give them a chance to get dicked over! Ha 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 ha! And, yeah. And, yeah. So, next matchup, it was Tyson, Cesaro, and Natalya versus the Los Matadors and El Torito, and I still do not care about Los Matadors, but also, more to the point, The biggest issue I have with the Matadors is they look to have everyone cheer Olay, and I, for one, refuse to chant Olay until El Generico saves all of the orphans in Mexico. And I know there are plenty of people out there like me that still believe in that. But moving on with this match. First thing I noticed was Natty in that Catwoman suit, and damn, this is probably the hottest Natty has ever looked, and I ain't never been one to go and bat an eye to her, but now I'm just looking, I'm like, God, dog, dude, kid, man, I am one jealous son of a bitch now. And, yeah, but Cesaro and Kid, man, me and B-Rot over at the TRN Talking Wrestling Network, man, me and him, we pretty much have been hitting the nail on the head non-stop. These guys, they are the kings of wrestling as far as what WWE goes. You know, and yes, yes, we made that reference specifically, more so to the point because Cesaro was in the Kings of Wrestling in ROH. You know, obviously Chris Hero ain't there, so Q in Tyson Kidd, and Natty is now even playing the role of Sarah Del Rey on that, which is just freaking beautiful. It's really doing good with them, you know, and I absolutely love this group. You know, they are doing they are the best tag team that they got on the main roster right now, hands down. You know, but yeah, that being said though, this match, it was really good. Few things in it I didn't like. One, Usos were on commentary, and I have always shit on the Usos because they haven't done anything to make me think otherwise. But, you know, WWE, you may want to keep this in mind. You want people to like the Usos, stop having them do this, and start having them do more action. Because the more they talk, the more people hate them. It's just that simple. But, yeah, next thing you know, they wind up going at it. They're doing, on how it came to an end, that was another thing I didn't like. That was the other issue I had with this match. Natty got tagged in. She went up against Torito, and Torito pinned Natty. So, also wound up finding out that the tag titles are going to be on the line at Mania, but it's going to be on the pre-show, which is complete fucking bullshit because it's a 4-hour pay-per-view and you can't put the tag title match on the main show. Seriously. Yeah, and next up it was Swagger and Rusev, and this was the squashiest of squash matches as you could imagine. Which is saying something because Swagger, man, he deserves better. You know. But Rusev came, squashed on Swagger, and then out came John Cena, and then, yeah, proceeded to once again start, and then proceeded to go against Rusev, but much to everyone's dismay, Rusev wound up actually being the stronger of the two and pretty much went to town on Cena. And when I mean went to town on him, he went like Brock Lesnar did at SummerSlam on him. He beat the crap out of him, put him in the Accolade, and then proceeded and kept that on until he passed out. And no lie, after that, he went over, grabbed the title, held it up in the ring, and then dropped the Russian flag. Now, the biggest issue I had with this match, with this whole thing, was, you know, where's Lana? You know, that's what I want to know. Where is Lana? Because I want Lana more so than anything. But yeah, apparently there's some rumors going around saying that she's off filming a movie somewhere, and if she is, I am going to be extremely disappointed because of the fact I offered her a role in a specific movie, and, well, depending on what state you live in, if you're over the age of 18, and in some states 21, you would be eligible to view such movies. I'm not going to go into any more detail other than that, just because of the simple fact there are some children that watch this show. But, for those that know, that's the movie I offered her. And also, surprisingly, she also issued me a restraining order saying I have to keep 200 meters away at all times. Sometimes life sucks, folks. But yeah, moving on to the last match of the night. And I say match because it is the last match, not the last segment. So, it was Daniel Bryan versus Dolph Ziggler with Dean Ambrose as the guest referee as voted by the fans. And yeah, my big thing on this was a lot of people were saying Ambrose was counting fast. I feel bad because I didn't pay attention. I was more focused on the match itself because it's not often you see two technical mechanics with such good skills working against each other, and this was a good match. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Now, and I know a lot of people are, as far as what Daniel Bryan goes, are like, oh, Daniel Bryan should be in the main event of every match, you know? And to those smarky McSmarkertons, dude, seriously? Listen, they had to throw Bryan in the main event last year because they had no other choice, given everything that happened. You know? Rewind the clock back to this time last year, they had to pull the trigger on Bryan when they needed to, because if not, they would have lost money, you know? But with this, it was, you know, with this one, think about this for a minute. Bryan is a very gifted wrestler. Everyone knows that. And everyone also knows Bryan is a draw. So, when Bryan was the U.S. champion, he gave that title credibility, and it also got him more notoriety. When Bryan was tag team champion with Kane, same thing. When Bryan was world heavyweight champion, granted his title reign was short, however, it did give him credibility and it did help push him because of the fact that once he got that, he had to start doing his heel thing, and that really got him going. And that's what really was what gave him his push to where he's at now. And he wins the IC title. You know, he's going to wind up elevating himself as well as that title. So, you know, when you have him, you put his name on a marquee at a house show and say, oh, we're going to have Intercontinental Champion Daniel Bryan. Oh, Daniel Bryan! You know? There you go. And it's just like that. But, yeah, the match, it was good. I absolutely loved it. And hands down, match of the night. Hands down. Yeah, it was a good match. No doubt on that. Now, on how the match came to an end, some may wish to argue, especially because, you know, Ziggler wound up hitting a super kick and then hit a zigzag, to which then he got the 1, 2, 3 and won. And then, but right after that, some people were all blasting on Twitter, oh, Daniel Bryan won against Triple H, Randy Orton, and Batista all in one night, and then was able to win, but he gets one super kick and a zigzag and he could lose. Dude, it's on how the show is fucking scripted to end. Think about this for a minute. It's the go-home show, and if Bryan's losing and Dolph's looking strong, you really think they're going to have Dolph win the IC title again that quick? No. No. Especially given the popularity that Bryan has. You know, you want to make a bet on who's going to win this match? Smart money is on Daniel Bryan. Smart money's on Daniel Bryan, Heart's going with Dean Ambrose, because that pretty much is what the catalyst was for on how this whole started. You know? But it's hands down no. But this was a really good match. After the match, everyone else for the title match, Ambrose, Truth, Stardust, and Harper, all came down, as well as Barrett. They all came down. Everyone started swinging at each other. The big thing that got me with this, more than anything, was Ambrose was on one end of the ladder, and I believe it was Stardust on the other. They were both climbing up to go and grab the title that was up there that Kane took from Barrett earlier in the show. And Harper came over, pushed the ladder over, and the atypical stereotype from when you knock a ladder over, you know, fall over, boom, hit the ring, hit the rope, and then, fall down. But what got me was the ladder fell over, slingshotted off the ropes, and went back and clipped Harper. And Harper went down, grabbing his knee, and then went and proceeded to keep going like that. That being said, I am hoping, and I mean hoping hard, that that was just part of the show and that he is not legitimately hurt, especially considering how close we are to the show. You know? Now, that being said, that was the main event match. Now for the main event segment of the night. It was my savior, Paul Heyman, and folks, I do still say this loud and proud, Paul is God, because that man's word is gospel. That is the truth. He came out with the beast incarnate, Brock Lesnar. And, excuse me, after his introduction, that said it all. I don't know what else to do. If I cannot convince you to buy WrestleMania to see my beast destroy Roman Reigns, I don't know what else there is to do. You know, and honestly, if you can't have Paul Heyman sell you into buying a match, dude, what the hell? What is it that... What? Seriously, because that man could talk the devil into setting himself on fire and enjoy it. Paul is that gifted on the mic. And that gifted in speaking and motivating. You know? It's a proven fact. But hyped up Brock, talking about on how Brock was going to destroy him, and then out comes Reigns. Reigns comes out, and then them two just stare each other down, and then Brock just pulls off the title and is like, "This is mine, bitch." And then Roman just grabs it and it's like, "Nope, it's mine." And then they proceed to have a tug of war until the cameras turn off. And, you know, I'm not going to lie, I could see that working maybe in like the New Generation era or maybe into the Attitude. Possibly. Not 100%, but possibly in the Ruthless Aggression era. But this one, I don't know. No, I didn't see that going that way, you know? I mean, on how I saw the show ending, them two doing a tug of war, Paul Heyman coming to intervene, trying to stop them both, Roman just like, back off Paul, and then Brock just taking a swing at him, and then back, and then just rolling out of the ring and walking away like, no. And then leaving it at that. But on how I see WrestleMania going with those two, simple. Give them two a 20 to 25 minute match, and then after that, I'll do possibilities on both guys winning. Roman wins, then have Seth come in and cash in on him, and then give them two a 10 to 15 minute match. And the reason why I say that much is because doing that would give to the sense of the ever infamous sentence now brought on by he whose name I shall not say because I'm pissed off at the fans still chant it. It makes Roman look strong still. And, you know, defending his newly won title with every last ounce of strength he has left, to no avail, just to have Paul help him get screwed over. And then lead it over to, you know, also it clues in that they're going to do a cash-in at WrestleMania. And the reason why I say that is because the tail of the tape for the Money in the Bank match specifically said there have been 0 cash-ins at WrestleMania. So, leaves one to think, why would they say that if they weren't going to do it? Now, also, if Brock wins, Paul screws him over so that way Seth can cash in and win. You know? And then Seth become the next Paul Heyman guy. But that's on how I see it. So, that's it for this week's show, folks. So, like on normal, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, go back, watch the other episodes. Look for me on Twitter at Tim Vicious. Make sure y'all look for my backup account, Tim_Vicious. Also, do not forget to follow all of these cool-ass cats right here on Twitter. Vicky Earls, make sure y'all check out Vicky's podcast, The Celtic Commodity. I am Danny Sunday Mucky Mars, Axel Mulligan, who is going to be doing his return to podcasting soon. Sunday Segway, Simply Sabrina, Cranky Grandpa, Legion Lady Aaron, Oliver Ben, and Just a Stupid Mark. Ollie, Mark, like I said, I do extend that olive branch in hopes that we can have a ceasefire until after WrestleMania. As well as my client, who, as I have said before, is the true Raw General Manager, Bronx Bitch Forever. And, folks, like I always tell y'all, you love me, great, you hate me. Fuck yous.